Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. In this video, we're just doing a quick commentary about banks and how they make money, and just ask ourselves, why do they have the biggest buildings in downtowns in pretty much every major city, right? So I just did a quick Google search of banks in downtown, and you can see in various cities they have some pretty nice buildings. And just what is it that product or what product or service they put into the marketplace that generates so much money? Right? And just a little commentary about what they produce to the marketplace that will generate so much money, right? How do they have the biggest buildings in downtown? So really, if you really think about it, they have, quote, the laziest business model, which is make nothing and make money, right? What do they produce? They produce iPods, iPads, food products. No, they just have paper and then they make interest off of that paper, right? They're even lazier than landlords because landlords, even though it's a kind of passive job, if you own a rental property and a tenant breaks something or there's a water leak, you have to serve the tenant, right? If you're a bank and you have a mortgage on a property and the borrower does something to the house or there's a water leak in the house for where their mortgage is, you don't have to do anything, right? So it's like the laziest business model. You do less than even landlords. And here's the other thing too, because they follow this laziest business model, they never want to own houses. So if let's say you don't pay your mortgage, they'll do everything that they can to make sure that they don't have to foreclose because they do not want property. That's not their business model, right? So it's the laziest business model. And the way that they make money is essentially just interest, right? And I don't know if you know this, but there's kind of a deceptive way that they talk to the average person about how interest works. So, for example, let's say a 30-year mortgage, and we'll say a $300,000 house at 3% interest. So 3% interest. If you do the math, I think it's about $1,200 a month payment. And let's just take a look. So let's go to our Google calculator. We have a loan calculator, $300,000, 30-year loan for 3% interest. So that's about a $1,200 monthly payment, right? And if you look here, this is essentially how they talk to you. This is, there's a way that they talk amongst themselves versus the way that they talk to you. So when they talk to you, they'll just say, oh, yeah, $300,000, 30 years, 3% interest. And you only have to pay a low monthly payment of 1,200 for 30 years, and you're a homeowner. And think about that. You're a homeowner. So you have the pride of home ownership. What does that mean? If something breaks, you got to fix it, not the bank, right? But here's what the bank's thinking. On the right side, they're going to make $155,000 of interest on your $300,000 loan, right? And that's pretty much a 50% profit. You want to know how much profit they make? Just take this number, divide it by the loan amount, and that's like your return on investment. So I'll just do a simple formula. So that's G9 divided by D7. So equals G9 divided by D7. And you can see here, it's a 51% return, which is pretty sweet, right? And so if you just kind of mess around with the interest rate, which is what they're going to tell you, so they're going to tell you the interest rate, but they're not going to tell you how much they're actually getting paid. You can kind of see how that relationship can kind of be a little bit deceptive. Nowadays 6% interest rate is good, right? So let's see how much money that they're making now, which is 115%. That's pretty good, right? So I want over 100% profit or 100% return. People are really happy with over like 5% return, but I'd love to make 115% return. And let's just do this. Let's put it at 9.4. So at 9.4, that's a 200% return. Now think about this. If you have a 50% return for the bank, and that's what they're charging you interest, how many houses are you paying for? You're paying for 1.5. You're paying for one house to yourself and then half a house to the bank. If you're doing 5.4, which is 100% interest, how many houses are you paying for? Two houses, one for you, one for the bank. And then if you do 9.4, how much interest how many houses are you paying for? You're actually paying for three. Look, you're paying for one for you and two to the bank, right? And so if you just think about this, so let's say interest rates are percent right now, you're paying about 139% interest, and that's not counting the possible refinancing you might do in the future. But if the bank is going to make 139%, and let's say there's millions of people borrowing money to get a mortgage for their own home, you can easily see why they have the biggest buildings in it pretty much every single downtown, right? I would love to be the bank and set up a structure where I just make money doing nothing. But maybe I'm a little bit more ethical, which is why I'm a landlord, right? If the tenant needs something, then I'll go ahead and help the tenant out. Whereas in a bank, if something breaks in the house where the mortgage is at, the person with the home ownership, not the bank, has to fix it, right? So you can see that they're in a better position than you as the landlord because they just sit there, collect payments, and do nothing because that's their business model. Banks don't want to own property, and they'll do everything they can to not have to foreclose on you. And foreclosures is like the last remedy that they want to engage in. And then once they have it on their books, they want to get rid of that property, right? They don't want to be a landlord. Landlord's too much work. But collecting interest, you do nothing and then you make money, right? And so that's pretty much one of the, I'll say, speculative reasons why banks have the biggest buildings in pretty much every downtown in every major city in the world. All right, so just some food for thought. This is Creating Atlanta Mentorship. If you're interested in joining our group, go ahead and click the Google form link below, and go ahead and send it, or you could email us at you can find out our email in the about page of the YouTube channel and go ahead and send us an email there and we'll send you some info. All right, have a great day, everybody, and we will speak next time.